If you're attending events, having conversations, and you're still not getting new clients, you're not alone. You've been networking, trying to get yourself out there, but you're just not converting. It's usually not that networking doesn't work or isn't working, it's that your strategy and your approach to networking is not quite there yet, and you have a broken system. Welcome to the Coaching Network. My name is Maria Medina. I am a networking and business coach, and I have been networking for 20 years. Not only did I use it to progress in my corporate career, but I have built multiple businesses through the use of networking, whether it's by direct sales or incorporating vendors and suppliers and strategic partners into my businesses to help them run more successfully and more efficiently. I've worked with hundreds of professionals and small business owners, and I continue to see the same mistakes over and over again, which is why I'm making this video of the top 10 questions that I get asked about networking and how you can make the most out of it. Question one. Does networking actually work? I've gotten this from different types of business owners and professionals. Some new to their industry, new to their business. Others that have tried it throughout the years think that it doesn't work and then assume that networking just isn't going to work for their industry or their business. Quick answer, yeah. Networking works, and I've seen it work in different industries from different professionals, whether they're working for a corporation or they own their own business. The reason it doesn't work for certain people is that they often treat it as sales, not networking. And those are two completely different things. You need to approach networking as a relationship building activity, not a direct sales solution. So when you're talking about networking in this essence, yes, it works and it can work for you. There are so many networking groups out there. How do I know the right group for me? That is question number two that I get asked very, very often. How do I pick the right group for me? There's so many options, there's so many events. I just can't make them all, and I can't make a decision on which ones to do, right? We get FOMO, we get overwhelmed, and then we don't go. So, how do you pick the right group for you? I always say start with your target audience, whether that's a direct client or a referral partner. Where are they? If you're targeting HR professionals, join an association for HR professionals. If you work well with people in construction and trades, there are networking organizations for those trades. Look at where your ideal partners are or your ideal clients are and frequent those events. But as you find the groups, you need to start finding ways to evaluate those groups so that you know whether they're working for you, whether the right people are showing up. Because what you may find is that certain groups will attract referral partners for other types of groups, right? Everybody that's looking for those HR professionals might be going to the HR conferences and the HR associations, but not necessarily be good referral partners or clients for you. So you got to analyze the groups. First, find the people that you're trying to attract, and then start attending and evaluating as you attend them. Question number three often comes right after I answer question number one, and I say networking is not the same as sales. So, question number three is, what's the difference between networking and sales? Networking is about building relationships, thinking long term sustainability and loyalty. Sales is more transactional, it's about making that sale. And if you don't build that trust and that value and that relationship that you would with networking, if you're just making a sale, there's nothing stopping them from switching to the next salesperson or the next individual that approaches them about your good or service. When it comes to networking and building those relationships, you want people to buy from you, from your company, because they value you and they're not necessarily just shopping around for the best price and switching in between vendors, which sales will establish. If you're going into selling mode, then what you're going to do is you're going to be competing in a more competitive environment with more vendors and suppliers, because you're going to be competing on something that they don't value. It's something that they just see as price or who can get this to me faster. When you're building that networking relationship and you're learning about what they truly value, you can cater to them with your good or your service and add additional value by utilizing your full network. Which brings us to question number four. How do I add value with networking? And I actually answered this question today on a call. It was a networking call that then turned into, hey, wait, maybe you can help me with your networking coaching. How do you add value? I always like using the quote, be more interested than interesting. Ultimately, by adding value, it isn't about your product, your service, or who you are as a person, although a little bit, because you'll be making those connections. But it is about what the other person values most. And the best way to learn about what somebody else values most by asking them questions, open ended questions, learning about them, listening to truly listen and not to respond. Learn as much as you can about the other person. And what's the easiest way to learn about somebody else? Let them talk. That's the thing that they like talking most about. Let them talk about themselves. Let them tell you about their lives and their business and let them share with you, but truly listen, not to sell, but to connect and to understand how you can bring value into the relationship. Question number 5. What do I talk about when I am going to these networking events? And this is where it's very important to be listening to the people that you're networking with because you don't want to have just a straight up pitch. This is what I do. These are the problems I solve, and this is my solution. What you want to have is an understanding for how your solution brings a value and how your solution is going to help others in different ways. Because as I mentioned, people value different things. And sometimes your solution is not a good fit. And we don't want to be pushing a solution on somebody that's not going to buy. What we want to understand is what they're currently experiencing, what they're going through. So again, ask them questions about themselves, about their business, so you can start building value. And that's the conversation that you want to be having. You want to be having genuine conversations, storytelling, have information in case they ask you about your product or service, but don't necessarily have it pitched at them the moment that they come and have a conversation with you, right? Keep it vague. I often only introduce myself with my title and then I let people ask, hey, what's a networking coach? What does that mean? What do you do? Let them engage with curiosity. The more questions that they ask you, the more that they are willing to listen. You want them to ask questions back as much as you are asking them. And in the rule of reciprocity, the more questions that you ask them, the more willing they will be to listen to you when it is your time to speak and they are asking those questions. People like people that listen, and you're bringing value just by listening to what they have to say when you're asking those questions. So that's why networking works very well for my introverts. Ask important questions, ask those interesting questions that are going to engage in conversation that you actually enjoy, not just what do you do? Boy, was the weather bad yesterday and was there so much traffic on the way down to this event, right? We don't want that small talk. We want to understand what brought you to this event. Did somebody invite you? Is this the first event that you've been to with this organization? What do you think? Is there anybody here that you already know that we can go talk to? Have different conversations and talk about them with genuine interest so that you can share about yourself. Question number 6. How do I turn a conversation into an opportunity? Let's say you've been having a conversation with somebody, whether it's that same event or a follow up event 2 or 3 events later. And at that moment, they say something that really prompts to say, ooh, my product or service can actually help them. You can share it with genuine interest, but you can also follow up with additional questions. Tell me more. Why are you struggling with that? Is there a solution that you have explored already that might help with that? Tell them about people that you've worked with. Give examples, share from experience. People like social proof, but also show how your solution is also going to give them some relief to their problem. Explore the opportunity by asking them additional questions and then naturally explaining your product or your service. Don't try to push your product on them the moment that you feel the need is there. Instead, ask additional questions to make sure that your product or service is a good fit before you offer it as a solution. How soon should I follow up after I meet a potential lead or referral partner? I often say within 24 to 48 hours. Don't wait. Make sure that you follow up as soon as you're able to while you're still fresh in their mind. You don't want to wait too long and then they've met somebody else, they've met an additional people that now they've forgotten about you. Follow up as soon as possible after that first interaction and then make sure that you're scheduling regular follow-ups, especially if they could be a good referral partner or they're a potential client or lead. And you've probably heard me say this before, it doesn't take one follow-up. It takes 5 to 12 touches for somebody to decide to do business with you. So, question number 8, how do I follow up without being annoying? without pestering this person and having them get sick of me. You want to follow up by providing value, not just, hey, just checking in on that quote I sent, or hey, just wanted to follow up, right? Something generic, great meeting you at that event. No, it's about that conversation that you had. You engaged with genuine interest, you learned about what they care about and what makes their business run. Let's say they want to meet professional women, invite them to that women's conference. Let's say they were struggling with time management, give them that book recommendation or that podcast that you listened about managing your time better. Build value by just having your name in front of them with that added value that they value. It's whatever they care about. So remember the conversations that you're having. That's why it's important to have a different conversation that is easier to remember. We're on question 8, Maria. I have been doing all of that, but I'm still not getting the right clients. So, what's question number 9? I've been networking, but I'm not getting clients. What am I doing wrong? Often it means you're in the wrong rooms, you have the wrong messaging, or you're not following up properly. It's one of those 3 things. You're not talking to the right people. Your messaging or value isn't hitting where your people are, or when you do get those leads or those potential referral partners, you're not following up enough. So I ask you to revisit your systems, revisit who your ideal client is. Have you really explored who that is and where they are and what they value? And are you in the right rooms with them? And if you are, does your messaging hit? Ask people that don't buy from you, hey, why didn't you think that my solution was a good solution for your problem? Was it pricing? Was it timing? Was there another solution available out there that helped you that mine couldn't? Ask for feedback when you get those no's. And if they're willing to provide you additional feedback, I just asked somebody and they said the timing wasn't right. Often it's out of your control. But if they say, I wasn't too sure that your solution was actually going to be beneficial to me, it might be in the branding and the messaging. And then be truthful to yourself. How many times are you following up with somebody? Often people stop at that 3rd time when they get ghosted, when somebody doesn't reply back. Are you following up 5 to 12 times? And if you are, is it just a check in, or are you providing value to the contact that you're following up with? And finally, question number 10. Maria, my time is limited. Who should I be connecting with? Who should I be making a priority? If your time is limited and you're not in the first stages of growth for your business where you have the opportunity to network with both your direct clients and your referral partners, I encourage you to prioritize those referral partners, those people that are already dealing with your ideal client in masses, right? Let's say that one person is dealing with 25 of your ideal clients. You only have to deal with them, not 25 people. If you're looking for referral partners, you have to visit and your product and your service and understand, okay, my client buys this, but what else do they also buy? Those are my referral partners. But you don't want this to be a one-way street. What else do they also buy that my clients are asking about? So I can start a referral partner relationship with these other business owners that they can then send business back to me. So prioritize those referral partners and have a clear list of who your ideal referral partners are in the event that somebody asks that question, who can I introduce you to? Don't focus on your ideal client, focus on those referral partners. So if it feels like you've been doing a lot of these things and networking is still not working to you, it might be a systems and a structured process as well as a branding and messaging process. I encourage you to book a free 30-minute consultation in the link below. I'd love to have a conversation with you, understand what are you doing, what are you not doing, and maybe there's a quick fix there. But otherwise, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if I didn't answer your top 10 networking question, go ahead and ask it in the comments below.